JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe, please hit like, and we're going to do a quick video on recasing a pocket watch. Please look up to the left, and if you're not freaked out, we will continue. Alright, we've got this very old Lancaster 17 jewel pocket watch here. It's running exceptionally well. I'm very proud of my work here. This was wound last night and it's still ticking away like a gem. So this watch is working really well in all positions. You can look at that. It's got a really cool blue hairspring, by the way. So we're going to just recase this. I'm assuming that the bead error and stuff is okay here. So I'm going to recase it and have a look at it. All right, here it is. I want to recase it so I can check the timing on it and not have to worry about the pivot on the back end going all crazy on me. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to put the watch back together. So I'm going to grab some tools here. I've got to put the cannon pinion back on, and I'm actually hoping that cannon pinion just slides on nicely and there's no big deal here. And then I'm going to put the this wheel here, the hour wheel, down. Usually I put this down first and then I slide the cannon pinion over it. So not sure if it makes much of a difference whether I do one first or the other one first. But just get that down into position, and then sometimes I'll put the cannon pinion on. I will line it up really carefully so that the gears are kind of lined up. The teeth are lined up nicely, and I will often use a stake to push that down. So I just have to make sure that there's an alignment here before I push it down. I'm going to grab a stake to push that down. So I want to make sure that there's a perfect alignment here so there's not any undue pressure. As I lower this down, and the teeth will integrate nicely with the minute wheel. That worked really well. And then I will put the hour wheel down like so, and the hour wheel will integrate nicely with the minute wheel. So those leaves are nicely integrated, as they say. Let me just turn this around a bit, and I'm just going to touch it up with a little bit of Rodico here just to make sure there's no leftover stuff on here. I think we're good there. And then the face goes on, and I have to tighten the I've got to tighten the dial screws, but I'm going to find myself a dial washer first. So here I've got a bunch of pocket watch dial washers, and they are of different size, so I'm not sure which size this is going to require, but I'll just grab the middle one and pray, right? So I'll grab the middle one, and I just open this up, use my thumb to do this, and look at the dial washers, and these things here are way too small. So I need a larger dial washer for this. So what the dial washer does is it just pushes down. The dial pushes on the washer, and the washer pushes on the hour wheel, and that ensures that the hour wheel is down in place, and it's not going to ride up and not be in contact with the pinion. So there's a dial washer there. I don't know if this is the right size. It looks to be pretty small as well. So that's too small as well. So I'm going to go up, I think, to my last size dial washer, which should work. So I go up to, that's 3.5. I'm going to go up to a size 4 dial washer, and hopefully that works. Now I thought it was the dial feet on this watch that required soldering, but I think it's the other watch, because the other watch is a bit of a Franken watch. It's got all kinds of problems. So I'm going to grab a dial washer right there. This one looks like it will work. So it's got a bit of a bend in it, as you can see. So that's the dial washer there, and it's got a bit of an arc on it. And then what you do is you just put that down on top like this, And you see how nicely that dial washer fits on there? It's almost like it was made for it. And now I've got to keep my fingers away from the balance as it's ticking away here. And I want to get a screwdriver out to loosen the screws around the balance, so I can put the these are the dial screws here, and I just loosen these like that. Try not to loosen them too much, and turn the watch around carefully, and then loosen the next one. Hey Lucy. And then turn the watch around carefully. Try not to touch anything with my fingers here. And then loosen the next one. I don't know if my screwdriver is in place or not. There we go. And you just stick your screwdriver in here and then loosen it like that. Now the dial should be able to go straight down on top. So if I look at that dial the way it is, it would be at 12 o'clock position. So I just move that around. Before I do that, I'm going to just wipe the dial very carefully with Rodico to make sure there's nothing on it. And I doubt if there is. But just wipe it, swipe it, wipe it with Rodico just a bit, and then turn it around. And I want to line that dial up now with this watch here. So I just line it up like that. And those feet should find home. There we go. So those feet have now found home. And I can see that the dial, the washer, the dial down this end here needs to be loosened a bit more. So I can loosen the screws on this side just a bit more, because it doesn't seem to want to go in right here. So I just loosen that. Loosen that dial screw there. And I think the one over here also needs to be loosened. Right there. Just get it out of the way. And the good thing is when it's flat like this, there's no real harm going on here. And I can just shift that around like that. There we go. So everything is in now. And I'll tighten these screws. There's one right here. Retighten that screw. Again, making these videos for you guys, I hope you appreciate it, because it does slow you down in watch repair. It's much nicer actually just to repair watches while you're listening to the radio. I find that really relaxing. Relaxing. There's laxing and then there's relaxing. I'm trying to make sure my fingers don't get in the way of the balance as it's spinning around. There we go. That's the third one. Now that I've got the watch in place here, what I'm going to do is case it, then wipe it clean. So I'm just looking around to see where the balance is. I think it's over here. There it is, ticking away. And I need to case the watch, so I'm just going to be very careful when I do this. And you look at the watch here and you can tell which side is up and which side isn't up. So where the screws go would be on this side. So let me have a look at the watch again. This is not a very high-end case, by the way, and then the owner of the watch told me that. So I expect they're going to be casing it with a higher-end case at a later date. So I just turn that watch around like this, and then find the top. And the top would be right over the crown wheel, right here. So that's it there, and I kind of look in and see whether the square is at an angle or not, and it seems to be. So I just go in like this, and at a bit of an angle, find home, and then push it up like that. So now it's cased properly, and as I'm holding it like this, I'm just holding the face lightly, I can put the case screws back very carefully. What I've always done when I replace case screws is when I'm using the screwdriver, I'll tilt it sideways, so if it slips, it's not going to go, if it slips, it won't go into the balance. Even though it's sideways a bit, there's a danger it slips and hits the balance. I don't want that. See that slip? I don't want it going into the balance. That would be a nasty, nasty thing. So that's one screw, and I'll get the other screw in here. Like that. And then screw this one down. And again, I can keep it a bit of an angle here, but just so it's not going to slip at all. And be very careful with screwing it. I don't want to mar it at all. There we go. That's both case screws are in. It's funny, one of them is round, or roundish, and the other one isn't. So I can't remember which one the round one was. I think the round one went over here. I may flip them around here. And turn that at a bit of an angle, so if it slides, it'll slide off. I'm going to try it that way. So it might be a better fit. So I think that's the way they went in before. I recall the flat one being on the other side. So let me just remove that. And the stem will keep the watch in place. And I know that this is going to be likely the owner will put this in a different case at a later date. So I'm not too concerned. But I want this one to be the one that's better secured for the watch because it needs to, the stem will hold the watch in place. I'm not too concerned about that. And you don't have to over torque those screws when they go in. Just be reasonable when you're putting them in. A reasonable amount of torque is required. Reasonable is all about feel when you're working on pocket watches. So it's about feel, and if you don't have the feel, then don't work on the pocket watches. I'm having fun right now. I think this is in. Yeah, I think it's in. Hang on, let me give it one more turn here. It's a pretty deep screw, so it doesn't have to go in that hard. There we go. So that's that. And then I can wind this, hopefully. I usually give about 10 winds on the pocket watch. You don't need to get right to the end of the barrel because it could come off. So that's about 10 winds there, and that's in pretty good shape. Now I can put the case back on very carefully. So before you put the case back on, you just blow it out. So take the case like this and just a couple of puffs there in case there's anything in there. And this is a metal case. What does it say on here? It says base metal. So that's about the cheapest metal you can get for a case. So I'll put the case back on, and this is to protect the movement as I put the hands back on and stuff. So now I'm still going to check the accuracy of this watch, and it's not a very high-end watch. It's a 17 jewel watch, but it got it running very nicely. So that's it there. And then before I put hands back on, I always use my Rodico, man's best friend, and I will swipe along the dial here just to see if I can clean it up some more. And it cleans it up. Rodico is amazing. It cleans the dial up so nicely that if there's any fingerprints on there, you'll never be able to see them once the crystal is on. It's amazing. Amazing. I'm not sure who invented Rodico, but they should, that deserves a Nobel Prize. Okay. Forget all the rest of the Madame Curie stuff and diseases and stuff like that. I think it's Rodico that deserves the Nobel Prize. There's no co better than Rodico. Oh, you're so funny. So what I have here is I've got 2 hands and I'm missing a second hand. So I'm going to have to find one of those hands. But for now, I can put these hands on. And they've been magnetized. See that? The hands are hanging there and they need to be demagnetized. So let's get the demagnetizer out and get rid of some magnetic field here. This is my Binford 4000 demagnetizer. This is actually a demagnetizer from China. And I just throw a screwdriver in for a second, press the button. You can feel the pull actually, and then pull it straight back out. And it just causes all those little lines to be lined up So it would demagnetize this particular device. So you saw how these hands kind of stuck together like that. Now, if I demagnetize one hand here, is it going to help? So just put it in there like that, hold it for a couple seconds, and then draw it out slowly. And I found that this demagnetizer works just fine. I saw others where you can put the movement down, just press the button, but this seems to do the job. And do that, and then pull it out slowly. And for this particular watch, I got to go hunt for a second hand. So now I've got both these are out, both of the hands are out, and they're not sticking together anymore. See, look at this, watch this. I'm hoping I'm not lying, because if I'm lying, then I got to do it again. So there we go. It's unable to pick up the watch, or the other hand, sorry. So that's a demagnetizer. It's made in China. You go to AliExpress and buy stuff like that. It even says Hing Chang Wong Bung Ding Kang Gong Dung Bung Gang Gong in the corner. So I just realized I got a ghost image in the corner. Look at that. There's a ghost with no hair talking away. Who is this ghost? So that's the demagnetizer. So I've got what I call a bad case of messy desk syndrome here. So I've got the dial washers, as you can see. I got my upsy-downsy camera is the one pointing down right now. And there are the dial washers. And you want to put those dial washers back where they belong. So let me just do that quickly. And then, when you're hunting for parts, get what you need. And when you don't need any more, get some more. That's the theory behind all this. So there's the demagnetizer here and the dial washers, and as you can see, I've got a very nice little camera here that I use to point downward. There we go. There it is there. This is kind of my setup for recording. I've got another camera right up there that's the same type, except it's on a giant tripod. I can move it anywhere, which is kind of cool. So I also have a Walking Liberty coin. Look at this thing here. I use it for coin magic. 1946, the Walking Liberty, beautiful coin. And good for coin magic. So there we go. So that's that, right? I'm also going to throw the watch into the demagnetizer for a second, just to make sure there's no issues. And I will nail this movement with the demagnetizer and bring it out slowly. You just put this on lightly here, and then throw it in like this, and we'll see what happens here. And then just move it out slowly. And there we go. And hopefully it's still ticking. And so that's generally demagnetized. I'll listen to that for a second. Oh, that sounds good. Oh yeah. Now I want to put the case back on here, and just check out the to see if there's any issues regarding the beat error or anything else with this watch, and I can regulate it. So if it's 1 or under, I usually just don't bother with it. And this is not a super high-end watch, so I'm not expecting to have a super high-end beat error on this thing. So I'll just put the case back on, and I'm going to get my watch timing stuff out and have a look at this. So you can see the rate on this watch is plus 86. The amplitude's 224, not too bad. And the beat error is 0.5 milliseconds, which is excellent. All right, I'm holding the camera here steady, but as you can see, the rate is now 0. I just jumped up to plus 7, which is not too bad. And the beat error is still good. It's plus 7 and the beat error is 0. So that's excellent. Now it's plus 5. Amplitude is 226. And the beat error is 0.1. So that's some seriously good beat error on this. I'm telling you. Let me just check the angle here if I can get a better angle on this. There you go. 0.3 millisecond beat error, 226 amplitude, and minus 2 seconds per day. So that's about as good as I want to get with this watch. So we're good. So now what I want to do is actually take the crystal off here, the bezel and the crystal. I've already wiped it down with Rodico. And I'm going to put the hands on because I can put the hands on and then put the second hand on after. So I do this job by hand. I've got very expensive hand presses and stuff, but I still find the best way to do it is just to do it by hand. So I'll just go down like this. I got to lower my chair. Oh my God, look at that. It went down. I'm going to get this hand out of the way because I don't want my elbows to touch it. Clean up the desk a bit. The desk gets pretty messy, as you just saw a few seconds ago, with all the crap I have on the desk. Dial washers and all kinds of stuff. So then I'm going to do that. I'm going to disappear from the corner. Like that. What a job. And now I'm going to push this hand on. And I got to make sure I got the right hand pusher to push the hand on. And then I take a look at it from the edge when I'm pushing it on to make sure that that the hand is on nicely, but it's not too high. And that's not too bad. I'm going to switch hand pushers to get more real estate. And I like to lower it a bit, but I don't want it to get in the way of the second hand. So you want to look at it from all angles when you're doing this. I think that's in pretty good there. And I'm going to push it down a bit, forward a bit more. Like that. And that might be good right there. Not absolutely sure until you put the other hand on. You can see. And then when I put the other hand on, all I have to do is pull this out, and then I can set the hand to 12 o'clock. It's a lever set mechanism, so it's a nice little watch with a lever set. And then push the lever back in, and then get the other hand, and the other hand needs to clear this hand. So I can take this hand here and just put it on top like that. And it needs to be pressed down and clear the other hand. So I'm going to get in close here so I can do this without screwing it up. And as I push down, I can take the tip of my tweezers and move the hand over. So it's in the right place, and then look at it like that. So it's on there, but it needs to go down a bit. So I'm going to just push down here and see if I can get that down further. And I want to push it in but not interfere, so that's not too bad there. And again, I want to look at this from all angles, because usually it's sideways a bit when you do that, so you want to make sure it's not sideways in its final position. And it's clearing the other hand nicely. So there we go. That's pretty good there. And if I were to pull that out here and look at the alignment, it's pretty darn good. So if you look at that alignment right there, that's pretty close. That's pretty good. And if you look at it from an angle, you can see the hands are missing each other, which is nice. And as I spin the hands around, I check it from other angles to make sure they're still clearing each other. And as you can see, the hands are definitely clearing each other, which is what you want to do. So now when I put the seconds hand in, I got to make sure the second hand, the hour hand, clears the seconds hand. And I've got enough room there. I just have to try to find the right seconds hand here if I can to put that down. And while I'm down here, I can do a little bit more cleaning here. Because I can see a little speck here. I'm getting very close with the cleaning right now. And of course, as the owner, you can buy yourself some Rodico, and you can open this up and then you can clean it yourself too. It's not difficult. You just don't put too much pressure on the dial itself when you're cleaning. So, but other than that, it's Anybody can do this part. You just have to be as anal retentive as I am, okay, folks? There you go. So that's that. Now I actually have to go hunting for a seconds hand, and I think I've got a bunch of them in an envelope. I just have to go look at my seconds hand area of expertise. So push that in like that, and there we go. So I might produce the video or just look for the second hand first. So this is my department of hands. I was joking with somebody about my computer the other day, and they said, well, how many fans do you have on your computer? And I actually counted 9 fans. I said, I've got more fans than Taylor Swift. My God, that's funny. More hands. I got more hands than you can shake a stick at. And I've got containers with hands. Little containers full of hands. I don't know how many sweep second hands I have. Here's a little thing that says second hands. What do you think the chances are there's second hands in there? Hopefully high. There's a bunch of hands here. I don't think these hands have pips on them. Well, one of them looks like it might. It's super small though. There's a couple of them here that have, like this one here's got like that, but I think that for this watch here, that's way too small. So I might be screwed here when it comes to finding the right second hand for this thing. So I may end the video and then continue the hunt, right? Because I've done that before. Because the hunt will continue, and it might take a while to get to the right hand, as there's so many different options, and so it's difficult to find an appropriate second hand. Well, you can still tell the time with this watch. You just can't tell it to the second, and it doesn't look as good when it doesn't have second hands. I know I bought a bunch of second hands from before, so I just have to hunt for them. So let's just continue with the hunt. So here's some more hands. These are beautiful hands, some of these. They're very nice. I actually don't want to even take them out of the case, but if you look at those are very nice hands. You got nice hands. You could be a hands model. And I got some more here. And I paid a lot of money for these, I think, back in the day. And I got some more here. These are not second hands. And I got some more here. I think I had... Yeah, these are not second hands either. So I gotta have to do some serious hunting for second hands. So let me just set the time on this watch, and I'm gonna go continue with a different watch from the same gentleman, because this is running nicely, and all I'm doing is looking for a hand. So I don't want to waste my Sunday right now looking for a hand, because that will piss me off if I can't find one. I spent the last 4 hours looking for a hand. So it didn't come with one. So I'm kind of, why? So I'll just sit this on the bench and we'll watch the timing on it. As you saw, it was like exceptional timing on this. So it's a beautiful watch. So I think I can find a second hand somewhere. It's very difficult to measure the pipe on this, but I can increase the size of it or decrease the size of it as well. I need to turn the light off on this thing so the brightness isn't killing you. So anyway, I'm JD. So thanks for watching this series of videos here. It was kind of cool. And I'm going to start with just a teaser here, but I'm going to just get out the second Franken watch here that I have. And this is the one here. This is a Waltham. And this Waltham's got tons of issues with it. So I saw some of the issues. It has a finger guard issue for sure. So I think I can deal with that. See if I can deal with that. That's a little bit of a tough one. It has a second hand. Look at that. There's a second hand right there. But maybe it doesn't have an hour hand. No, there's an hour hand right there. So I'm going to reassemble this one today. And just so you people that can't read backwards, that's what I saw was wrong with it for now. And hopefully that's it. And we'll get at this one and start working on this watch. So thanks for tuning into my channel. I'm going to put this video up right now. And have a good day.